So example 2, graphing an equation of a parabola. We're going to identify the focus, directrix, and axis of symmetry, then sketch the equation. So we have negative 4y equals x squared, but you have to write the equation in standard form, and standard form from previously is y equals 1 over 4 times p x squared. So the focus is, what we need to do is isolate our y value. So to isolate the y here, let's rewrite this. This is negative 4 y equals x squared. To isolate the y is divide by negative 4. Now you could say it's y equals x squared over negative 4, but we want it to look like this standard form. So what we're going to do is we're going to rewrite it as y equals negative 1/4, right? So just move that fourth to the left, and then x squared here. So make sure it's not under the denominator, it's right in this position. So then we're going to find P, then identify the focus, directrix, and the axis of symmetry. So we're going to draw and label on the graph as well. So to find P, we have to use the equation 1 over 4P equals A. So now that we wrote this in standard form, we know that our A value is what's in front. So A equals negative 1/4. Now to find what P is, we're going to set A equals negative 1/4 equal to the 1 over P. Okay, that's what this is saying here. So 1 over 4p, that equals our A value, and our A value is negative 1 over 4. So now we need to cross multiply. So we're going to cross multiply here and here. And so what we get is negative 4p equals positive 4. Now to find out what p is, divide by negative 4. So we find that our p value is negative 1. So p is negative 1. Now, what you need to remember is that, what does the p represent? And so we know that p is negative 1. Now, looking up at our equations from above, y equals 1 over 4 times p x squared. And we know that focus is 0p and the directrix is y equals negative p. So when we find that p equals negative 1, that's exactly what our focus will be. So this is going to be 0 and then the p, negative 1. The directrix is always a y equals, and then what it is it's the opposite sign of the negative 1. So it's going to be y equals positive 1. Okay, so notice here the directrix is negative p, so it's just the opposite sign. The axis of symmetry is going to be x equals 0. Okay, it's our x value of our vertex, and we are doing things where our parabola is at 0, 0, so we can plot that point here. Looking at this, the sign is negative, so we know it's going to open down. So remember what we talked about when you graph a vertical shrink, is that you can think about this as this is going to be, take the denominator, it's right 4 and then down 4, left 4 and down 4. And those are our next points. Another way to do it is plug in numbers. So we have 4. If you plugged in plug in a 2, that would work out as well. Now for the test and everything else, you just need 3 points. And so this really works out very nicely. Now we're given the focus of 0, negative 1. The focus is always inside of the parabola. So here is our focus, 0, negative 1. So notice that it is 1 away from the vertex. So therefore the directrix has to be 1 away on the other side. And notice that this says y equals 1. So that's the horizontal line right above it. So this is directrix of y equals 1. And then remember that our axis of symmetry is here. So it's always, for us, in this section, it's going to be x equals 0 because all of our vertexes are at the origin. Okay, so go ahead and try this next example. Identify the focus, directrix, and axis of symmetry, and then sketch the equation. So we have y equals 1 over 8x squared. So we don't need to rewrite the equation in standard form. It's already in standard form. Y is isolated. But you have to find P. So you need to identify what is A. And then once you figure out what A is, remember you just set A equal to 1 over 4P. Okay, so pause the video and try it out. All right, if you try this out, you would have to scale your graph because we have 1 over 8x squared. So I just went by 2's on the graph. So when you get to that part, 2, 4, 6, 8, 2, 4, 6, 8. So you have to identify a first. So a is 1 over 8. It's just the coefficient before the x squared. Then we set that a equal to 1 over 4p so we can solve for p. So 1 over 8 equals 1 over 4p. You cross multiply, so 4p times 1 is 4p. 8 times 1 is 8. So 8 equals 4p. Then to solve for p, divide by 4. So p equals 2. So when p equals 2, that goes here. And the focus, again, is 0, comma, whatever that p is, 2. The directrix is y equals negative 2. That should be a negative 2. It's always opposite of whatever p is. And our axis of symmetry, again, is just x equals 0, right on this line. So we know that this is positive. 1/8 is positive, so we know it's going to open up. So we plot the vertex is at 0, 0. And then my directrix I know is y equals negative 2. So I plotted that here. I drew it. Y equals negative 2. The focus is always inside of the parabola, or the parabola faces the focus. And so the focus is here at 0, comma 2. Okay, so I want you to try out a couple more examples. So here's example 2 and example 3. Pause the video and try it out. See if you can get these graphs. They will be fraction answers, by the way, and that's okay. And then I'll have the answers in the next video. So just go ahead and try this out and then try out the next video.